So, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning in for this interview with Amir Zoghi. As I have presented before in all our social means, he's an international speaker with so much heart put into what he does regarding how to help people develop their own intuition and become a spiritual warrior or an intuitive warrior, which is a better name for what he does. So, Amir, thank you so much for accepting this interview. I'd like to welcome you and start asking you about what you do exactly, so people can get a feeling of what is it that you do, and then from there we can continue the sort of a lot of questions I have for you.
Yes, so thank you very much, Gloria, for having me on. It's actually a pleasure to be on your show.
Great. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, I get people to tap into their human potential, their infinite potential, I should say. So I get people to deepen their connection with who they truly are. And over time, I think people forget to feel, and they're too much in their head, and they're continuously thinking about their life and thinking where they're going to go and thinking about where they've come from, and rather than embracing and feeling and experiencing this very present moment. So I get people to reconnect with this present moment, with their true infinite potential, and I guess live life with what they truly want. You know, most people think they're pursuing this goal that's going to make them happy, and it's not really. I always call that the false target, the false goal. So I get people to reveal really what the true goal is, what the true love they have in their life, and for them to come and sing the music from within them, and be able to live their life effortlessly. You know, and a lot of times we're looking to pursue so many things in the external world, and it can become such an effortful experience, and so many people will experience suffering from not achieving some of those things, and suffering from some of this resistance that they're experiencing in their lives. So I get people just to be able to free themselves from that suffering, and be able to free themselves from that effortful power, I should say. Most people are living using their effortful power, but there is a power that we have that is effortless. So potentially, in a nutshell, that's what I do.
And how do you achieve that? How do you help them get there?
You know, it's all about an individual knowing who they are as a whole, because we are all individual beings, and we know ourselves to be a human. But as a being, there's no the true beingness of who we are is not an individuality. So it's more of a oneness. You are one with the energy of all things, one with the energy that connects all things. So you breathe now. You take a breath. Within that breath is an energy, and that energy is not just going through your body, but it is going through the plants. It's going through the atmosphere. It's going through the rock, through the earth, through the universe, through space. That's one energy. You're breathing now, and we think we are this body, and when you are this body, then you're limited what you can breathe. You take a breath in now, breathe in as much as you want. You breathe in as much as you want. You can only breathe in limitedly. But I get people to connect with being that breath. People must understand that you are not just breathing. You are that energy in the breath that is giving life to the body. You are the energy that is that fills all space, that fills all of matter. And when people deepen their connection and their awareness and their understanding of who they truly are, they start to free themselves from living out of fear. I always say that there's two energy sources that make us who we are as a human being, and those two energy sources is love and fear. There's nothing else. All other energies, all the other emotions stem from those two primary energies, love and fear. And when people are continuously doing what they need to do, and they're continuously coming out of fear, then they're experiencing that limited part of themselves. And When people start to connect with who they truly are and start to deepen with who they are, they start to realize that, no, I'm here. I'm here to do what I love to do. I'm here to experience love. I'm here to express love. And, I always say, heaven and hell can also be a state of mind. We're either experiencing hell on earth or heaven on earth. And if you're doing things out of fear or continuously doing things out of need, then you're experiencing hell on earth. But if you're doing things out of love, then you are definitely experiencing your heaven on earth, which is ultimately why you came here.
Now, like you've mentioned a couple of things that I want to ask you about. First of all, like we can get an experience in a meditation about being the air we breathe, being the breath, and being the energy of the breath, and we can actually experience that in a meditation or during a moment. Yet we come back to our regular life, bringing maybe the experience that we've had, but we come back normally to the rational world, to the world where the mind governs everything and the ego is involved in it. What do you think is needed for us to be able to actually start living in that awareness of knowing that we are the energy, the breath, the air that we breathe, and we are all one or all connected? Because, we can know it theoretically, yet getting there in a very experiential way, it's another thing. What do you think is required for us to get there?
It's a really good question. It's a very good point you make. We can know this theoretically, and there's a big difference between knowing the truth versus being the truth. And the difference is that someone who knows the truth cannot live the truth. If you know presence, and you can't be present, then you can't experience its presence. But to answer to your question is love. If you think about it, love governs so many things. And if you ever met somebody who has a near-death experience, they nearly had a moment when they nearly died, and they had a second chance, you notice that their life changes predominantly in one common way. And that common way is that they choose to do things or live differently. They choose to do what they love. They choose to live in the moment or for the moment, and they choose to spend more time with the people they love. There's something that happens to an individual that has a near-death experience. After the near-death experience, things change for them, and predominantly, the common change for most of those people is love. It's doing what they love to do, being in the moment, and spending the time with the people they love. Now, to answer your question, if most people can meditate and can get to that moment of bliss and that moment of connecting to that energetic field of love, which is what we're talking about. But like you said, Rory, most people then go back into their everyday life and their analytical minds and doing what they need to do, and they can't experience that space of presence. And that's the problem. The problem is that most people go back to doing what they need to do. Your life has got to change. Your life has got to change from within you. Yes, we can connect to that space and be present, okay? But love's essence is present, okay? The love's essence is present, is the present moment. So for someone to continually stay present, they must be in the field of doing what they love to do. And that's the difference between knowing this and actually being able to be this. Most people can meditate and can connect to that field of love, but then they just go back into doing the things they were doing out of need. They're not doing what they love to do. And people always ask me, I need to do this, and I'm not saying that you don't need to do that. There is things that you need to do, but for as long as you're doing what you need to do, you'll be given more of what you need to do. There's got to be a change that takes place. When someone is experiencing doing what they love, what's the one thing they experience? They experience timeless. They experience time disappearing. When you're making love with somebody, when you're doing what you love to do, time seems to disappear. Time becomes irrelevant. And that's because you're experiencing yourself in presence. So the key thing that is missing in most people's lives, in their everyday life, is love again. It's doing what you came here to do. It's being your music. It's being who you love. And it doesn't have to be this huge purpose thing. And the ego is always looking for this big purpose because it's looking for purpose in what it does. But purpose is not found in what you do. Purpose is found in who you're being. Purpose is found in who you are. And when you realize who you are, you will live purposefully and give purpose to what you do. It's actually the opposite. So in a nutshell, to answer your question, for someone to stay in presence, for someone to stay in that energetic flow of love and experience that effortless energy in what they do, then they have to be doing it out of love. If you stand there or get up in the morning and you meditate and you connect to energetic fields of love and you're experiencing love and presence and joy, and then you get up in the morning after the meditation and you go and do what you need to do or do something out of fear or out of insecurity or out of an agenda, because love doesn't have an agenda, then you can't be present. You can't sustain that presence. And this is why commonly a lot of people say, well, you can't stay in presence. But love is always present, and who you truly are, its natural state is present. So if you realize and connect to the truth of who you are and continue to do what is true for you, not what you do out of an agenda. Most people live out of an agenda, and what that means is they're living out of their own prison cell, because love doesn't have an agenda. Love is already arrived. Most people are looking to arrive. If you haven't arrived in this moment, you're never going to arrive, because the only place you're going to feel like you've arrived in your life is right here, right now. The only place you're going to experience love is right here, right now. The only place you're going to experience freedom is right here, right now. It's nowhere else. It's not in the future, and it's not in the past.
Okay. Now,
so it doesn't make any sense for you to just sit there and meditate and then just go and do what you need to do. You need to start to make shifts in your life. And this is where people become a little bit what I call woo-woo. They meditate, they get all spiritual, they connect to the essence, they can feel the possibilities. But then when they go back into their everyday life, they go back into doing things out of fear. They go back from coming from fear and doing things only that they need to do rather than they love to do. And then they can't use that field of possibility. They can't experience present, and they go, well, it's too difficult. You can't live this all the time. You can't live it all the time if you're coming from fear. And I know what I'm saying. It's very it's a fine line. It's very difficult to be able to do that, but it's an art and it's a practice. And it took me a good 2 or 3 years before I started to begin to come from love in all areas of my life. It took a long time. It's not something that happens overnight, but you start small. You start, maybe it's not making a change in your career. Maybe it's making a change in how you start your day. Maybe it's making a change in how you finish your day. Maybe it's making a change with how you eat your food. How you open your eyes in the morning. It doesn't have to be immediately going changing your career and immediately going changing your relationship. Just start with yourself. Start with the little things, because the little things will turn into big things. And before you know it, you are only doing what you love to do, and anything that you need to do is taking care of itself.
Could it be possible that somebody would be connected in loving to do something that is harmful for others? Do you think that's possible? Like somebody that was born, we could put it the name bad, just to say something. I was born bad and I like to kill people, and so I get satisfaction when I kill people, and I was born to kill people. Would that be something that it's really aligned with the spirit or with a reason of existence?
No. This is the thing. When you're doing what's true for you, when you're doing what you love, it doesn't have an agenda. You see, when someone is killing somebody or doing something that's creating harm to others, and we'll talk about that. I'll break this down in a moment. But when someone's doing harm to others, they're usually doing it to grab attention. Okay, and they're looking to get recognition. They're looking to get acceptance. They're looking to get approval. So you hear so many times somebody harm someone else because they're just trying to get attention. They're trying to get recognition. I mean, what is recognition and what is attention? It's an artificial love. It's not the real love they're looking for, okay? Because at the end of the day, everyone here is looking for the same thing because we're made out of the same thing. We're looking for our way back home. We're looking for love. And those who look for love in all the wrong places, and I say in all the wrong places, that's outside of you. Because the only true love that you experience, the eternal love, is only something that can be found internally. Okay? When you're looking for love outside of you, then you're experiencing a shadow of love. You're experiencing an artificial feel of love. So for somebody, recognition is a big thing. Most people do so much to find recognition. Some people will fight for recognition. Babies will cry for recognition. People will fight in wars. They will try to get the next career advancements. They will kill people. Some people will become sick and continuously make themselves feel sick because when they're sick, they're getting recognition. What they're really looking for, recognition, is a form of love. It's how the ego finds love, because the ego is a part of you that's looking for love in all the wrong places. It's looking for it outside of itself. Now, on the flip side of this, when someone is doing what's true for them, you see, love is something that comes from within you, that comes outside of you. That you experience it from within you, you experience it as you experience it being expressed outside of you. When someone is doing what's true for them, they're doing something without an agenda. In other words, an agenda is, I'm doing it to get recognition, I'm looking to get acceptance, I'm looking to get approval from others, okay? Or I'm looking to get security, or I'm looking to get control. These are all different expressions of love. When someone is having recognition, acceptance, when someone is feeling approval from other people, they're feeling love, okay? So when someone is doing something that's true for them, and when you're doing something that's true for you, it means it's coming from truth. When you're doing something that is true for you, it means it's coming from truth. I'll repeat it again. And when you're doing that, your truth, or what's true for you, or love, if you like, the three different definitions I've just given you, true, and love, doesn't have an agenda. So it's no longer looking to get acceptance or approval from somebody else. It's no longer looking to get recognition. It already has it. Love already has recognition. Love is already accepted. The love is already approved of. And when you're doing what's true for you, you allow those around you to experience what's true for them. When you're being the person that you truly came here to be, it's like you're a drop that falls into an ocean. It creates a ripple effect. And you allow those around you to experience what's true for them. But here's the thing, right? The thing is, what's true for them could be a positive experience, it could be a negative experience. Okay? I'm not talking about a physical harm thing. I'm talking about, maybe for me, to give you an example, you may be in a relationship that is no longer true for you. And you feel like you're suffocating in this relationship. You feel like the relationship was over. You feel like the relationship is in fear. You feel like the relationship is driven out of an agenda. Okay? So in this example, if you go and tell your partner that, look, I no longer feel it's true for me to be in this relationship and I want to move on, then you're experiencing what's true for you. But that person may be feeling rejection. That person may be experiencing a negative experience. So this is what I'm saying to you. When you're doing something that's true for you, or when you're doing something out of love, it's not your responsibility in how it's received. Okay? Love is not looking for someone's approval. Love is not when you're doing what's true for you. When you're doing something from completeness and from wholeness. In other words, when you're doing what's true for you, those around you will experience what's true for them. But it's none of your business if what's true for them is positive or negative. That's their experience. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. Now, I'm thinking about the reality that this planet is living nowadays. It would seem that there's not much love actually being manifested or being created or being lived. so much, sadness, wars, power struggles, governments, economics, and all these things. And at the same time, I see that there's a lot of people wanting to regain their own true power through connecting to who they are. And so what would you say about this era, this time in life? What is happening? Are we actually going through a phase that we are being given the opportunity to remember who we are?
Absolutely. Don't be so concerned about what's going on in the world. Be more concerned about what's going on within you. Because the world is just an act. It's a theater. It's a movie. I know some people don't want to hear that, okay? But most people want to put their attention outside of themselves and get enrolled and consumed by their external story so they don't have to face what's going on within themselves. We continuously put our attention outside of the world. The world is what it is. Nothing is, the truth is not found outside of you. It is found within yourself. All right? There is love. Love is all that governs everything. Love is all there is. All else is your judgment of what is. If you're not experiencing love, it's because you are judging something and you're going, well, this is bad. You see, to answer your question, I find it an exciting era in the world. People go, but Amir, we are all killing each other, and we're at war and this and that. And I'm like, but that's been happening for centuries. We used to once use a club to kill each other. Now there's more population and people are using more technology to kill more people. The killing has always been there. The love and peace have both been there, because when you're experiencing the world, you're going to experience everything in duality. It means there's two. Duality means that everything of the world, there'll be two. If there's a positive, there's a negative. If there's love, there's fear. If there's peace, there's love. War and there's peace. Everything you're experiencing in duality. Where you experience oneness or completeness or the connection of who you truly are or love is inside of yourself. You must, as Gandhi said, you must be the change you want to see in the world. People tell me, but there's all this, the world is falling apart and we're killing the world and all that. And that may be true. There is so much that's taking place in this world. But when I place my attention within me, I see something differently. I see in the world that more and more people are reconnecting with the light of who they truly are. More and more people are taking the path internally and taking that journey back home to the truth of who they are. I live in Bondi Beach in Sydney, Australia, and when I wake up in the mornings and I go for a run, I see people meditating. I see people doing Tai Chi. I see people doing yoga. 40, 50, 60 years ago, you would have never seen that. People's power was all outside of themselves. People were waiting for somebody to tell them how they should live and what they should do. Now people are starting to find their own voice. 40, 50 years ago, you would be embarrassed to be walking around with a personal development book or a book about consciousness. You'd be embarrassed because, you'd probably hide it in a brown paper bag, because if you were caught reading a book like that, it would seem odd. It would seem that you have a problem. But now it's being talked about on TV shows. It's been talked about on radio shows. People are telling people to read this book and read that book. I see that there is a change taking place in the world. And sometimes the world outside of us needs to go a little bit dark for us to find the true light. You see, most people think the light is coming from the outside, and they're concerned about what's happening with the world. The world outside of us, it's looking to get dark. This is a metaphor, but it's looking like it's going dim. And sometimes the world outside of us goes dark, so you can find the light within yourself and realize that the light was never outside of you. The light was inside of you, and you bring light to the world outside of you. You illuminate, and that light shines outside of you, and you give life to your world.
Okay.
So I think it's a very exciting time. I'm not so concerned about the stories of what's taking place in this world, and we can get consumed by that. That story's been taking place been here. You know, there's been both peace and there's been both war. This is all a reflection of the peace and war that's taking place within us as a collective.
Yes.
And I think we're in an exciting time. They say December 21st, 2012 is when the Mayan calendar ends, and they say that's when the world or our reality as we know it ends. And to me, that is a time where the collective ego, the ego as a collective as one energy, begins to die. Because the only thing that was ever born and the only thing that ever dies is the ego. Mm-hmm. And we came here to lose ourselves so we can find ourselves. In other words, we gave birth to our ego. And then when we allow the ego to die, then we truly live and we truly experience our heaven on earth. And this is what's taking place in the world. You know, there's a lot of the world has been built out of the energy of fear. And there is a shift taking place in this year. And more people are aligning with their true message, and more people are taking the journey back home. And the journey it's an inward journey. It's not a journey where someone's telling you what the truth is, and someone's telling you what you should be doing. You should do this tool, you should do that method, you should do this process. No, people are realizing there is no tool, there is no process. There is just what is. Mm-hmm. And people are connecting to the real truth.
That's
and really rediscovering who they are. And to me, it's a very, very exciting time. You know,
it is indeed.
30 years ago, I wouldn't be getting all these requests to be on different radio shows talking about this. It would have been unheard of.
Yes, that's right.
It's an exciting time.
It is. Now, I have a question. Jonathan Kinsley wants to ask you something. He says, have you looked at the experiments or done any work yourself with the praying intention into water molecules? Does it relate to your work?
Water molecules?
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily, but I understand, everything is energy, and water itself is energy, and there's been some great research done with water and different elements, and when you put an intention and energy into water or different elements, you notice through microscopes that there is a different vibration. So no, I don't necessarily study any particular water molecules, but I have heard some amazing things about it.
You probably have heard about Masaru Emoto and his research about water. I think that that's quite interesting. Now, since we need to sort of move in the pendulum if we want to create any change either in ourselves or in this world, and we need to move the antenna, the intentions or our attention to the love part of our existence. When we live completely in a world based on fear, even though you've mentioned already some things that we can do, how would you approach when you are with someone helping them to connect with themselves when there is so much fear that's been planted in our psychology? How would you address for them to realize, to really get a sense of what love is? Because most of us seem to have an idea of love that's related to attraction, to desire, to pleasure, and to liking somebody. But the kind of love that you are talking about, the eternal love or the truthful love or the universal love, it is completely in a higher dimension kind of love. So how can we actually learn to understand what love is when we have an experience of love that is completely limited?
You know, I would be not so concerned about teaching what love is to others. I would be more concerned about you living what love is for you. Like I said before, Gandhi said, you want to see change in the world, you must be that change. For me, you know, I'm involved in transformative work. I teach people, I share people, and get people to experience different talks, different programs that will allow them to have a transformation in their life. Okay, but I don't do that by trying to transform them. I do that by getting up on stage and by allowing my song within me, my dance within me, to sing out loud. You know, everyone has a song within them. And when I sing my song, when I expressing what is true for me. And what I'm talking about expressing what's true for me. Someone expressing what's true for them could be through their art, it could be through their writing, through their speaking, through their acting, through whatever creative form it is. Okay? The way I make an impact in this world is by being an example of being able to live your infinite possibilities. By being an example of being able to live what is true and what is love for me. That's what makes an impact in people's lives. Many people come to my seminars and they say, Amir, we've heard all this stuff before, but something different took place in your seminar. And there's something that's different that took place was that I'm giving people permission to be able to live this. Why? Because I'm living it. Because I'm singing it from the depths of my soul. And it's about you. It's not about the world. You know, the world will change as you change. Most people are more concerned about bringing change in the world. Don't get me wrong. I love to bring change in the world. One of the things that I'm doing is setting up programs all around the world for people to experience because I want to bring change to the world. But I don't want to bring change to the world because there's something wrong with the world. It's not out of judgment. I'm bringing change to the world because this is what feels true. This is what is part of my song. This is what I'm singing. I am traveling around the world and singing my song. And it's not about anybody else. So when I'm up there on stage and running my seminars, it's not about changing the people. It's got nothing to do with my audience. It's got to do with me, connecting with me and expressing what's true for me, like right now.
So how can you connect? Yes, and so how can you connect with other people when you are only concerned about what's true for you? What I'm saying is, like, if I only think about what's true for me and I don't consider maybe that someone next door is dying of hunger, and that's their problem, and I'm just concerned in doing what's true for me, and I'm not caring for helping the person who needs a little bit of food maybe to be able to make through the day. Wouldn't that be a little narcissistic or egocentric?
And that's one of the biggest things that will block you from finding your truth. There's rules and little conditions, and how we've been raised, and you're like, you need to make it about other people. Okay? Now here's the thing. Love doesn't feel sorry. Do you understand? Love does not feel sorry. Compassionate, yes, it does not feel sorry. If it's true for you to go and feed the hungry, then you do it because it's true for you. For me, it's true to bring change to the world, but my attention is not on bringing change to the world. My attention is on me and expressing what's true for me. And when I'm expressing what's true for me, it makes the greatest impact within people, because what's true for me, the space, the energy, where what I'm speaking from, we're all one. If I'm speaking about, if I feel sorry for somebody, and I want to help them because I feel sorry for them, then guess what energy I'm using? Am I using love or am I using fear? Okay? Love does not feel sorry. Love, compassion, yes, but it does not feel sorry. It does not, I'll give you an example. Okay, because this is one of the huge things. You talked about right before. You said, you're talking about this love it's very different. Okay, well, most human beings don't even know what love is yet, what unconditional love is. They only know what human-made love is. I had a lady, to give you this story. She was a lawyer, and she was also a healer. And this lady used to represent children who were abused. And she used to heal them as well as represent them in the court. And she came and saw me to have a consultation because she was having a few blockages with a couple of her clients, a couple of her children. And we were having this consultation, and basically, in a nutshell, to cut the long story short, what came out of the consultation was this. What I asked her was, I said, do you feel sorry for those children? The children you're trying to help, do you feel sorry for them? And she's like, of course I feel sorry for them. They should have never experienced what they experienced. They were abused. That should have never happened. And I said to her, I'm not saying it should happen or not happen. Okay? But are you in judgment of what those children experience? And she looked at me and she goes, of course I'm in judgment. How can I not be in judgment? These children have been abused. How can I not judge that? And I said, but that's the problem. Your greatest power, your greatest healing essence is love. And love doesn't have judgments. Love doesn't feel sorry. So the moment that you are feeling sorry for these children, the moment that you are in judgment of what these children have experienced, and you are not in acceptance, because acceptance is the opposite of judgment, the moment you are in judgment of what these children have experienced, then you are no longer using your power of love. You are now using your power of fear. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's a different thing. When you're doing what's true for you, you're doing what's true for the universe. Mm-hmm. You're using a universal energy.
Okay, now I have a question regarding this.
Sure.
If it's about doing what's true for us, you know that most of us that are functioning from our ego desire or our egos or our personalities, which is the mask we show to the world, and that's what we identified with. So if it's about being true to myself, how can I know whether I'm being true to myself, my inner self, or I'm being just true to the needs that the ego has for me?
Very good question. Very easy question to answer for you. Okay? Well, what's true for you doesn't have an agenda. But if I was to describe this to you, what's true for you is an energy that you feel from within you. It's not something you find. Love is something that finds you. You never find love. Love finds you. So what's true for you is love. Okay? And when you're doing something, this is how you know it's true for you, because the feeling of what's true for you arises from within you. It suddenly finds you. And you feel to allow, open yourself up, to allow this expression of what's true for you to come from within you to come outside of you. When something is not true for you, it's something outside of you that grabs your attention. It's like you see a diamond outside of you and you go, oh, I like that, I want to have that. Okay? And then you think to yourself, oh, that's true for me, I want to have that. But you see, that's not true for you. That's something outside of you that is magnetizing what's within you towards it. When you're doing what's true for you, it's something from within you that is coming out of you and being expressed to the external world. Mm-hmm. That's how it takes place energetically. Okay, but to explain it to you in a different fashion, when you're doing what's not true for you, you'll know what it is, because you've experienced heaviness, you experience yourself being in a story, you experience yourself having attachments. Okay, because what's true for you, or love, does not have attachments. Only fear has attachments. So most people experience this emptiness within themselves. They experience, and by the way, your true power and what's true for you is inside that emptiness. Okay? But when most people experience this feeling of emptiness, this feeling of, something is missing, something is not whole, something is not complete. I feel unsafe, I feel insecure. Okay? When most people feel that emptiness, what they'll then do is look in the external world, in the physical world, in the material world, and go, how can I make this feeling go away? If I drive that car, it will make the feeling go away. If I had this house and I owned it, then that feeling will go away. If I found the relationship, or I found somebody to love the part of myself that I haven't loved yet, which is that empty feeling, then I would find what's true for me. See, all of those are not true for you. They are something you're looking for in the external world to disguise or to band-aid that emptiness you're feeling. When you're experiencing what's true for you, it's not coming from the emptiness, it's coming from the fullness. So it's not attached to experiencing something in the physical world. In fact, it's not looking to gain anything, it's looking to bring something. It's not looking to get something, it's looking to contribute something. Mm-hmm. It's a complete different experience. So that's why when you're doing what's true for you, you feel light, you feel joyful, you feel whole, complete, and you feel no attachment. It's very simple. I talk about this in my seminars. I ask people, who here has ever worked hard for something. They put blood, sweat, and the tears into something to accomplish something. And the moment they accomplished it, they were left with this empty feeling going, is that it? I thought there was going to be more. I thought I would have arrived. I thought once I get this, I would feel happy. Okay? But they didn't. They felt emptiness. You see, that is when you did something that wasn't true for you. You went after it. You went after it to fulfill, to take away the emptiness that you feel within yourself. Mm-hmm. But on the contrary, on the flip side of things, you would have experienced other moments where something came from within you, and the moment you decided to follow that, the moment you decided to follow this goal or this love, without even accomplishing the outcome, without even materializing the results, you feel a sense of fulfillment. You feel joy, you feel love, you feel energy, you feel energized. Okay? And it's no longer about the outcome, it's no longer about achieving the goal, because you already feel what you want from achieving that goal. You already feel it in this moment. So that's the difference. When it's not true for you, even if you accomplish it, you'll be left with the same empty feeling that you started with. Mm-hmm. When it is true for you, well, it doesn't come from an empty feeling. It comes from a whole feeling. It comes from a full feeling. No. It comes from a completeness. So the moment you decide to follow what is true for you, then you're feeling a sense of fulfillment without even accomplishing or materializing the outcome.
It seems to be that what's true for you, it's completely the same as love and freedom or no agenda, because you mentioned on that when you do something that's true for you, the love, there's love in it, and there's no agenda. And so when there's no agenda, it's most likely it's not happening when we go through our minds or through our rational mind and we are programming everything like an architect building a building. It seems to be that everything that's true comes from the inside, and it pops up in the most unexpected way. Is that more or less what you're referring by no agenda?
Absolutely. It's unscripted. Just like this conversation I'm having with you. It's unscripted. Mm-hmm. We don't know, you might have some questions, and I allow the questions to soak in, and then I'll instead of me looking for the answers, I allow the answer to come to me. I don't look for it.
Now, what's the use of...
It's unplanned.
Okay.
See, love doesn't have there's a part of you that's small that's looking to make a plan because you want to be in control. Okay? Mm-hmm. But when you let go of trying to make a plan, which is the way I live. I run a business in 3 different cities in Australia, three different cities in the world, I'm sorry, and I have no business plan. I have no financial plan. When you let go of the plan, you allow the plan to unfold from within you. Mm-hmm. When you try to make a plan, well, every plan you make is a limited plan because you are limited. You are a limited being. But if you let go, there's a plan that is universal, that is unfolding through you, and that's when you experience everything you touch turns into gold, Everything becomes effortless, and you're like, and people look at you and go, how do you do that? And you're like, I don't know, I'm just following my feeling, I'm just, no agenda.
Now, there's a lot of people, I'm sure that you've encountered, and there's a lot of people that are sort of lost of themselves because we are not taught, neither in schools or homes or society, to look within since we are children. So we grow up in this world that is completely disconnected from the inner world. And so Santiago wants to know if there's a method or a way to discover what is true for him or what is true for me, as he says, Is there a way for the people that are completely disconnected because of the way how we have grown to be completely separate from our inner world? Is there a way to reconnect? Is there a way to learn to hear what's true for me?
We may have been raised a different way. We may have disguised what's true for us by our rational thinking. But what's true for us comes from an infinite source. You know what infinite means? It's infinite, it's full power. It never runs out. It's like love. The more love you give, the more love you have to give. It never runs out. Love is infinite. Okay? So what is true for you is infinite. It's already part of you. You just got to start by stop doing the things that are not true for you. It might not be this huge thing, you might just start with a small thing, just little things, and then you work your way backwards. People always go, well, I don't know what's true for me. I don't know. I'm doing everything out of me because I've been conditioned this way, and I no longer know what's true for me. Well, every time you're going to eat food, ask yourself, what's true for me? Every time you're making a choice, ask yourself, what's true for you? And when you ask yourself what's true for you, don't look for the answer. Just ask and let the answer find you. If the answer finds you in that moment, let it go. Suddenly you're in the shower, suddenly you're driving your car, and it comes to you. The greatest ideas, the greatest creativity can come to you when you're not looking for it. How many times have you looked for solution, you look so hard, and then there's no solution. Then you go, okay, there's no solution, and you let go, and suddenly the solution pops into your head. It's the same way. So you've got to let go of trying to find it. You see, the thing is, this what's true for you is already part of you. You don't need to find it. You're making so much noise in your head by trying to pursue it, by trying to look for it. Is it this? Is it that? Or is that true for me? It's not a seeking thing. The moment you're asking yourself a question, is this what's true for me? Is this not? You're in your head. The answer doesn't come to you in your head. The answer comes to you in your heart, and it's a feeling. And when it comes, you act on it right there. Because you don't act on it right then, you start to think about it. And the moment you start to think about it, it's no longer true for you. Because your thoughts, your head does not know what's true for you.
So Amir, what would be the purpose of having a rational mind if the truth about who we are is in this inside and it comes in a natural way? What is the purpose of having this rational mind? Why do we have it?
That's a great question. You have it so you can lose yourself, and then you have it so you can find yourself. The rational mind is not there it's not there. It's your tools. It's like a ship, a big ship in the ocean. Okay, it has two main things to govern the ship. You have the engine of the ship, and you have where the captain sits, where they have the steering wheel. The steering wheel, okay, where the captain steers the ship, that is the rational mind. It tells you choose the direction of which way you want to go. You turn the steering wheel to the right, the ship will start going to the right. You turn the steering wheel to the left, the ship will start going to the left. Unless the ship is not moving. If the ship has no movement, you cannot steer the ship. The ship will be taken wherever the ocean takes it. In other words, you will be taken wherever life takes you. You see, the ship needs movement, it needs motion for it to be steered. And the motion comes from the propeller, comes from the engine of the ship. Well, the engine and the propeller of the ship is your heart. It's what's true for you. So it's not about disregarding the rational mind. It's about not making your choices from the rational mind. Let your choices find you. Let what's true for you come to you. And then you use your rational mind as a tool. It's a tool. It's like this body is not who you are. Your body that you're experiencing, your physical body is not who you are, and you know that because there's this feeling that is out of this body. There's a feeling that governs you that expresses itself in a formless manner. This body is not who you are. The essence of who you truly are is formless. But we use this body. We use our 5 human senses, what we see, what we smell, what we hear, what we taste, what we touch physically. We use those 5 human senses to experience ourselves. This body is just a costume. It's just the clothes you're wearing. It's the car you're driving. It's your vehicle. Well, the rational mind is your vehicle. The rational mind is there as your tools. If I was a great sculptor or I was a great artist, okay, an artist has tools. What's the tools of an artist? It's a paintbrush. It's the canvas. It's the paint, okay? The tools are your rational mind. But where is the painting coming from? The painting is coming from the creative source. The painting is coming from the imagination. The painting is an expression of what is true for the artist. The artist just uses the paint, uses the blank canvas, and uses the paintbrush to paint. You see, the rational mind is there to be used. It's your tools. You still make decisions from it, but you make your decision based on your feeling. I'm using the intellectual mind, the rational mind, the left brain of my head right now to have this conversation with you. I'm not answering the conversation from the rational mind. I'm answering the question, the answer to your question from my heart. How? You ask me a question. Before you even finish speaking and ask me the question, the answer is arising within my heart. The moment I begin to express my heart, I use my rational mind, I use words to describe what I'm feeling. Mm-hmm. This is what I'm doing right now. I am connecting to a feeling and expressing that feeling through words. And the words are my tools. It comes from the left brain. It's your language center. But it's not who you are. I'm just using the words.
That's right. And how about
the feeling I'm feeling?
How about what role does intuition play in connecting to the inner voice, the true inner voice?
Your intuition is your true inner voice.
Okay. And so, again, we go back to it's a matter of practicing, I guess. When most people like to have like a drop of medicine to get all the answers. It's like we need to practice in order to connect with our inner voice, because unless we learn how to discern whether it's the voice of the ego or the voice of our intuition, we might not really know where is the voice coming from. Do you suggest people legal things? You've mentioned it again along this interview. You've mentioned a couple of times all that we need to do. I mean, it's just so simple as to ask yourself, is this true for me? And see where the answer is coming from, or let it pop up in any moment. And so I do believe that it's a matter of practicing with ourselves until we are able to discern, because there could be so much confusion in understanding whether the voice is coming from the need of the ego to satisfy something, or the voice is coming from the inside. Because still, the voice of the ego is coming from somewhere in the inside. It's just that it's maybe coming from the head and not from the heart. And even if it's coming from the heart, it could be the superficial part of the heart where the ego tends to reside sometimes, and not the true voice that is coming. I sometimes say that it's coming from the guts, because it's easier to relate to the gut feeling than to the heart that could be confused. So can you suggest people maybe to do the practice till they get to discern, or is there any other way that they can arrive to the discernment of the inner voice?
No, it doesn't matter which interview I do in what country. That is a common question that I get asked all the time, because people are looking for, what's the pill? What's the magic pill I can take? What is the process? What is the tool? What is the method that I could do to find this? Because if you can give me the method, the tool, then I will do it, and I will get the same results that you're getting. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. A tool, a method, a process is all things that the ego does. Nothing wrong with that. Sometimes the reason why you meditate is because you're not present. But if you're present, then you wouldn't meditate. You see, if you're living in presence, you're not meditating. So meditation itself is a tool, it's a method, which is very supportive for people. So I'm not saying don't do it, okay? But here's the thing, along this way, I think the biggest thing that I have done to get me to the point of where I'm at right now, the point that I'm speaking from, is to stop doing things. We're looking for what can we do? I stopped doing. I stopped even reading books for a little while. Just for a little while. Stopped reading, stopped searching. I'm the biggest truth seeker there is. I was searching for the truth since I was 12 years of age. But the moment I found the truth is when I stopped searching for it. And I realized that the truth is me, the truth is within me, and it's nothing that I need to search for. If I stop searching, I will start to feel it. So I think what I'm trying to say is that it's not about doing something. It's about undoing everything that you're doing. You stop doing. You know, you need to start by giving yourself space of just being. You know, you can't do loving, you can't do compassionate. You be loving, you be compassionate. The truth is in who you're being, it's not in what you do. And we're continuously, as human beings, looking, what is it that I've got to do? The ego is like, what do I need to do? Tell me what I need to do, because I want to get the same result. See, the truth is, what most people are looking for, they already have it. But they don't know they have it, because they're looking at what do I need to do so I can have that. And the doing is creating a lot of heaviness, a lot of noise in the mind. Okay, so you know, if I could say, if I have to say to people, what should you do? Okay, make space for yourself. We continuously make our life busy, and I understand everybody's busy, but we manifest our life to be busy, so we can avoid being. We can avoid being by ourselves. Spend more time by yourself. Create moments where it's you, nature, and your breath. Nothing else. No TV, no books, no conversations with someone else. I'm talking about you sitting there and connecting to what the space around you, connecting to your breath, connecting to your own emotions, and there may be sadness, there may be excitement, there may be love, there may be fear. It's about embracing all those things, not trying to get rid of any of them, not trying to change, but sitting in amongst all the energy that arises within your body. Most people don't do that. They do not do that because they're looking at, what do I need to do? Nothing. You need to let go of the doing. You need to spend more time. Maybe an hour a day, maybe 2 hours a day. I don't know how much you're willing. It depends how thirsty you are for the truth. But the more time you spend in what I call pondering, it's not necessarily meditating, you're connecting. Meditation is fantastic because it relaxes you. And when you're relaxed to the point that your mind is not running wild, then you can connect. You can connect to the energy around you, and you can allow your mind to ponder. It's almost like you're thinking, but it's your creative thoughts that is thinking. It's not your analytical left brain, intellectual thoughts. It's your creative thoughts. It's your right brain, not your left brain, that starts to think. It starts to imagine. And it's not imagining things of the external. It's the thoughts that are running inwardly, and things start to reveal within yourself. You see, for you to truly be able to live this, you must become your own master. Most people are looking for someone to tell them what to do. The next master, the next philosophy, the next book. You are your own master. You are the one. You are the one that can free yourself. You are the voice that you hear within you, the true feeling. And I understand sometimes the ego will disguise itself in that voice. But only you can work that out. Only you can hit your head against the wall and work out, oh, that was the ego. That's the best way to work it out. The best way to work it out is most people don't make a decision because they're afraid of making the wrong decision. Was that my ego? Was that what's true for me? They're making a decision. In every single moment you're making a decision. You're making a decision out of love or making a decision out of fear. And most people choose not to make a decision because they've got a fear of making the wrong decision, which is a decision made out of fear.
And also because
it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to sometimes follow your ego, because then you learn which one was your ego. You got to have a direct experience of which one is your ego. Don't be afraid. Be open. Be open to all the experiences you're having, and give yourself time. Stop looking for what I've got to do. What do I have to do? What do I have to doing is all about an outcome that's future related. This truth that you're looking for is not future related, it's present related. Present related is all about who you're being, not what you do.
Exactly. And also I think that part of the process that when you mentioned we are afraid of making the decision, is also that we are a little lazy in becoming responsible of our lives, because after all, it's easier to see the outside than to see the inside. It is easier to give somebody an advice as to what they should do to get on their track, but it's harder to apply it in ourselves and in our lives, because it's easier to do it for somebody else than to take responsibility for your own life. But what you say is just so simple. What we need to do is so simple. Not only becoming in charge of our own lives, but just be in the present moment and learning to be there without ourselves in every moment, living in the present, experiencing the present, even if it's suffering that's coming on the way. If we are there, we can actually experience it, learn from it, and then continue in our lives. So I really thank you, because what you're saying, it's nothing, it's not so complicated. It's actually easy just to be there. A lot of people are saying, I was talking exactly, Santiago was asking me, I want to be guided. I want somebody to guide me. And I said, well, it's not about somebody guiding you, but learning to guide yourself, because otherwise you depend on somebody else, and you're always going to be depending on somebody else. If you want to find an answer, the answer is within. So the best thing we can do is learn, give ourselves the opportunity to learn, to tap into our inner world, however we can learn, but open up. If we ask, it'll come definitely. So regarding intuition, there's something else I want to ask you. How is intuition related to intention?
Okay, good question. Well, most people think intention is something they think in their head and they go, I want this, and I make an intention. Intuition is something that finds you. We've spoken about love. Love is something that finds you. Well, intuition is something that comes to you. The moment you have that intuitive feeling, or the moment you have that feeling of what is true for you, the moment you make a wholehearted decision, not a half-hearted decision. Half-hearted is half heart, half head. Okay? There is no logic in intuition. When you have an intuition coming to you, it has no logic, zero, nil, nada, no logic. Okay? Mm-hmm. It's the ego, it's the logic that looks for the logic. It's fear that looks for logic. Love does not have logic. Okay? So the moment you have an intuitive feeling and you make a wholehearted decision, and the decision is to say, excuse me, it is to say, yes, I'm doing it. It's just to say yes, to follow it. You don't even know sometimes where it's leading you. You're just saying yes to the feeling. The moment you say yes to the feeling, you've just created an intention. Mm-hmm. That's an intention. An intention is coming from inside of you. It's an intention. And intuition is coming from inside of you. It's your intuition. It is your inner guidance. Like you said, you need to find the answers within yourself. Well, you're using your intuition. And the moment you make an intention, it's coming from your intuition. It's that intuitive feeling that arises within you. If it's to do something, if the intuition is to express itself outside of you, then that's what we call, that feels true for us. Okay? And the moment you make a wholehearted decision, so you're using your analytical mind, you're using your left brain, you're using your intellectual mind, like I said to you before, you use it as a tool. The moment you decide, yes, I'm doing this, without requiring any logic of why you're doing it, there is no why, because the love doesn't have an agenda. There is no why. If you notice that whenever you speak to somebody who's doing what they truly, truly love, you say to them, why do you do this? And they say the same answer. Oh, I don't know, I just love it. Mm-hmm. What do they say? I don't know, it means I don't have any agenda. I just love it means love doesn't have an agenda. I just love it. That's what they say. Mm-hmm. So an intention is, so you have an intuition that is there coming up and it's giving you a feeling. You have what's true for you, which is a feeling that needs to be expressed outside of you. You're expressing what's true for you in the form of words, actions, movements, paintings, writing, whatever it is. The moment you express the moment you have what's true for you, and it arises within you, the moment you make a wholehearted decision to say yes, and it's almost like, yes, I'm following this feeling, that's an intention.
Mm-hmm. And how about spontaneity? I mean, what's the relation between intuition and spontaneity?
It's all spontaneity because the intuition is all spontaneous because it's all in the moment. It's moment by moment. It's unscripted. Most of us want to have a plan or want to have a script and have a backup plan and then have a backup plan for that backup plan because the backup plans and all the plans are things that make the ego feel safe. But this is all spontaneous. I mean, my life is spontaneous. I live in the flow. When, how many times people go, oh, they're in the flow, I love sports. You know, I'm a big sports guy. So in sporting terms, they don't call it the flow, they call it the zone. They say, oh, they're in the zone. You know, that soccer, the football, the kick, the player was in the zone. You know, when someone is in the zone or when someone is in the flow, what you're really saying is someone is in the present moment.
That's wonderful. Now, Amir, you're going to give conferences, and there's like a $1 for the first 100 people. I think that's an up. Where are you going to give the conferences, and when are they going to be?
You know, I'm doing it over this month. I mean, I just did one in Los Angeles this last weekend, but we've got. I'm doing them over this month and next month, and we're going to be going to Sydney, Australia. We're going to be going to Melbourne, Australia, and then we're going to San Francisco in California and also Los Angeles in California, United States. So they're the 4 cities we're doing over the next 4 or 5 weeks.
Oh, that sounds great. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people, because what you are sharing with us is really so helpful to break down our own limitations of believing who we think we are and getting to really know who we are. So I think that, I have felt that with your talk and how you insist in breaking apart the illusion that we are living and learning to just by simple things connect to ourselves inside. So I really want to thank you for the time that you've given us, and hope that everything flows for you in all that you do, and that maybe again in some future we can reconnect and have another talk.
I'd love to. It's been a great conversation, and thank you very much for your time and for the dedication you're making to other people and sharing this message to them.
Thank you so much, Amir, and I hope everybody has enjoyed it. We had some interesting questions going on, and we'll be flowing with you and some other things. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Ciao.
Bye-bye.